Well, thank you. And good day, everyone. In this session, Clayton and I want to answer some questions about producing an affordable, high-quality UNIMMAP MMS product. So what is the expert consensus open access UNIMMAP MMS product specification, and why is it needed? Can't a purchaser just provide a UNIMMAP MMS formula to local manufacturer to produce the product? UNIMMAP MMS stands for United Nations International Multiple Micronutrient Antenatal Preparation Multiple Micronutrient Supplement, which is a mouthful, which is why we abbreviate it. The Expert Consensus UNIMMAP MMS Product Specification is a document that contains important information needed to manufacture the product. It is open access, which means that it's publicly available to any purchaser or manufacturer of the UNIMMAP MMS product. Ordinarily, a product specification is a manufacturer's proprietary document that's not shared without cost to purchasers of the product. Without an open access product specification, any purchaser who approaches a manufacturer to purchase UNIMMAP MMS product will be told by the manufacturer that they will have to create this document. And creating this creating a new product document specification adds a significant amount of time to the timeline for developing the product, for manufacturing, packaging, and labeling it, for testing it, and ultimately for building manufacturing capacity. Next slide, please. There are three primary reasons to use the open access product specification. First, it's written to be used in any region of the world that accepts nutritional supplements to any of 5 internationally recognized pharmacopeal standards and current good manufacturing practice regulations or guidelines. Secondly, for countries that may have the capacity to market and sell into regional marketplace, it helps manufacturers produce a product that is standardized in quality to drug-like standards, which will more likely support accelerated demand for the UNIMMAP MMS product. And thirdly, as previously mentioned, it reduces the cost of manufacturing by providing essential details needed to produce the product. Next slide, please. Next slide. Another question that's often asked is, what is the difference between a nutritional supplement that is made to drug quality versus dietary supplement quality standards? Well, to answer this question, we first need to define drug quality and dietary supplement quality, because although there is a global consensus on how drug products should be manufactured, that is not the case for nutritional supplements. That's because some countries treat nutritional supplements as a food or dietary supplement, and others treat them as a drug product. The following slide provides a schematic diagram of the manufacturing process for a nutritional supplement, showing the inputs into the manufacturing process that includes ingredients, packaging materials, and labels, the manufacturing process or activities, and the final output or the finished product, which in our case is a multiple micronutrient tablet. Secondly, we need to understand that quality requirements for the manufacture of drugs, dietary supplements, and even foods are controlled by 2 things: good manufacturing practices, often referred to simply as GMPs, and also product quality standards, or more specifically, pharmacopeal and or compendial standards. As indicated at the bottom of the slide under the manufacturing processes or activities, GMP-related activities are highlighted in green text and product pharmacopeal quality standards in purple. Now, GMPs are based on the principle that quality should be built into the product, and testing alone cannot be relied on to ensure product quality. All GMPs have basic requirements for the methods, facilities, and controls used in the manufacture of a nutritional supplement. However, drug GMPs are more rigorous than food GMPs. Product quality standards exist for both drugs, dietary supplements, and foods. Drug product and dietary supplement standards are addressed by pharmacopeal standards such as the United States Pharmacopoeia, the European Pharmacopoeia, and the International Pharmacopoeia. Food quality compendial standards are published in Codex Alimentarius and in the Food Chemical Codex, or FCC. Pharmacopeal standards tend to focus on the purity of the ingredients, whereas food quality standards tend to focus on the absence of impurities, especially microbial contaminants. So as long as manufacturers are adhering to the appropriate drug-like GMPs and pharmacopeal standards, the quality of a nutritional supplement would be that of a drug product. Next slide, please. On this last slide, I've listed the points that I just spoke to you about for your future reference. And if you have more interest in this topic, you can find several articles about understanding product quality as applied to the UNIMMAP MMS product, and a copy of the Expert Consensus Open Access UNIMMAP MMS specification at references that will be given to you at the end of this presentation. And now I would like to pass the microphone on over to Clayton to answer a few more questions for us about producing an affordable, high-quality UNIMMAP MMS product.
Thanks, John. Our third question is how national officials can determine the feasibility of accomplishing procurement from local manufacturers of UNIMMAP MMS. The feasibility of transitioning from import of UNIMMAP MMS to procurement from local manufacturers requires an examination of many issues. One approach that organizes this type of an examination is recommended and applied by Sight and Life. It's a 5-step situational analysis that's shown in the diagram at the bottom of the slide. It comprises an examination of local informational resources, market dynamics, production capacity, regulatory requirements. This is then all combined with testing of samples of existing multiple micronutrient products that are in the marketplace to determine if manufacturers of existing products conform to label claims. And of course, this is a reflection of product quality. This approach is described in more detail elsewhere in this symposium. Our next question is, if it's feasible, how long does it take to achieve local manufacturing of a UNIMMAP MMS product? Well, there are several variables that affect the timeline. For example, what is the manufacturer's experience with nutritional supplement manufacturing? What's the nature of the manufacturer's product development cycle, and what is their starting point in the product development? Is it the open access product specification that was referred to by John earlier in this session? Or is the manufacturer creating the product specification anew? What local regulatory requirements affect the time needed for product development? For example, fulfilling a stability testing requirement to document a shelf life claim is one requirement among many that has a significant impact on the time to deliver a finished product. Another variable is whether the manufacturer is working from a purchase order or the promise of a purchase. Not unsurprisingly, manufacturers are more responsive when working against a purchase order, especially when upfront investment is required by the manufacturer for product development. Finally, the type of order can affect the time to delivery too. Is this a recurring commercial purchase, or is it a specialty run to support a clinical trial or some other limited use? The bottom line is that, based on historical experience, it takes a new manufacturer to manufacture the UNIMMAP MMS product approximately 2 to 3 years to deliver an approved product into the marketplace. And that, of course, is not including the time for implementing governmental procurement processes. Our last question is, what should UNIMMAP MMS cost for national public sector programs? The absolute price of the product is important to ministries of finance, which allocate limited funds across budget requests from multiple ministries. By contrast, ministries of health tend to be more interested in cost-benefit analysis when adding a new intervention. Cost-benefit of MMS is discussed elsewhere in this symposium, and for the moment, I'd like to just stick with pricing. Ideally, the price of UNIMMAP MMS should approximate the cost of the supplement that it replaces, an iron and folic acid supplement. Market research suggests that the price of IFAS, manufactured to internationally recognized quality standards, is at least 1 US cent per dose. The current list price for UNIMMAP MMS from 2 global manufacturers, as shown in the diagram at the right, excluding freight and taxes, is about 1.1 to 1.2 US cents per dose for large tiered volume orders of 5 or 3 million bottles, respectively, and that would serve 5 or 3 million pregnancies, and about 1.4 cents per dose for minimum volume orders starting at 100,000 bottles. However, it's important to recognize that manufacturers that manufacturers face several challenges that will make it difficult for them to match global marketplace pricing. There are at least three that we can mention here. First is that most local manufacturers have limited production capacity that limits volume discounting. Secondly, where local manufacturers may have volume capacity, few countries have 3 million or more pregnancies per year in a single domestic market, which is the volume that's needed to enable the best volume discounting, and import taxes on product ingredient are a significant cost factor of production. As we close this session, all of the resources and tools mentioned throughout the presentation are shown on the remaining slides with links to each document. We're confident that if you examine the resources and tools identified here, many of your additional questions will likely be answered. And finally, we do invite you to download this presentation from the conference website and to visit the websites of both Aqua Regulatory Services and Vitamin Angels. Thank you.